Okay, this movie is going to show you how to set up the X marks the spot animation for the X marks the spot assignment. And what I want you to know is in all of my classes, everybody has a different X with a different placement, and so I could show you how to do one, and I do have my example in the folder. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to be up to you to plan the solution to this problem. And that problem is you have 210 frames to get the ball from where it starts to where it ends. Okay, no more, no less, and to basically get the ball to the X. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the ball rig, and we're going to build the ball rig around we're going to build this scene around basically the ball rig folders. The next thing I'm going to import is I'm going to import the X marks the spot. Okay. Now where is the X marks the spot is right there. Okay, so that's where it is. Don't move the X. All right, it is on the floor, but you're going to have to figure out a way to get there. Now, last thing I'm going to import is I'm going to import the environments. You can go ahead and do that because that's going to give you a sense of where everything is. Now, if you want to move the environment around, you can do that a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. Like I'm going to move this desktop down. You can also, if you want to, hide the desk layer and bring the dome. If you like the dome better, you can do that, but you got to make sure that the dome doesn't hide the X or overlap the feet. Okay. Now the reason why you want to do it this way is if you try to import the rig into this, it's not going to work quite as well. Okay. So if I'm using the dome layer, I can basically shut that down. Now I can also use the dome layer with the desk, and again, it's largely up to you. You can also build props if you want, but this works pretty well. I can grab the desk layer, click on it, and then right click and choose select objects, and I can take that desk. Actually, the desk is all one. Nope, take it back. It's not one. Yeah, I can click on the desktop, and hit the up button, and it actually will move as a group. So I can move the desk around if I want to. Okay. Now, one thing which will help is I want to cut the reflectivity of my desktop. So I'm going to click on there. I'm going to right click on the desktop, and I'm going to go to Material Attributes. Okay, I'm going to float that. And under Material Attributes, I'm going to Desktop Material. And I'm going to drop down to Reflectivity, and I'm going to drop the reflectivity all the way to 0. That will speed up the render quite a bit. Okay, so you're going to plan out this animation of how to get the ball from here to the X. Okay, and how you do it is entirely up to you. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to reference the dome layer, and again, it doesn't show it, but it's there. And I'm also going to reference the desk layer. Click twice. Once goes to template, and once goes to reference. That way, I can't select either of these. But what I do want to do is I want to show some of the non-traditional forms of movement, like jumps to the side, jumps forward. Now, another good way to do this is to get out and do it yourself and feel what it's like. Okay, so I'm going to select all. I think I have. I'm sorry. I'm on desk lamp, not on walking ball. There we are. Now I'll go to there. I've got some animation here, so I'm going to delete it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got some animation here. Actually, I accidentally saved my walk in here, which happens from time to time. But I'm going to go and I'm going to delete that key. I'm going to delete all those keys. I'll hit the select all button and delete all the keys. And so now I've got my file. Now what I want to do is I do want to set a key. And what we're going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to select all and hit set at frame 1. I'll go ahead and set this. And I will also make sure, I should have done this first, I want to make sure that I'm at 30 frames per second, which is where I want to be. Okay, whenever you're moving something, there's certain things that you want to do. For example, if I jump up, if I try to just jump from this position, I'm not going to do a very good job. So instead, what I want to do is before I jump up, I have to move his center of gravity down. And that is to a certain extent called anticipation. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to have him jump forward. So toward that end, I'm going to have him move. Actually, I'm going to start him up, and then I'm going to come down and I'm going to have him do about a half second anticipation. So at 15, I'm going to select all and set my key, and then I'm going to have him move down, and I'm going to have him rotate, lean forward. I'm going to have him move down and back. Actually, strike that. I'm going to have him move down, and I'm going to have him move forward, because along with this anticipation, we also have to be aware that he's got to start moving his forward momentum. Now I can also, so he's going through this is going to look like this. Now another thing that I can do is I can go to frame 10, and I can push him down and then push him back a little bit more. And what that's going to do is that's going to give him more of a motion like so, which is good. Actually, I'm going to dial him back a little bit. So I just get a little motion. So he's coming down, and he's starting to lean forward, and I'm going to move forward to frame, let's make it 18, about 1/10 of a second. I'm going to have him lean forward a little bit more. Okay, and once we do that, I'm going to select all and set. In fact, I'm going to set a key at all of these. Make sure I've got hitting S at all of these keys. Because now what I'm going to do is in about 2 frames, he's going to pop up, and that may be a little bit too much. Okay, that may be a little too long. So I'm going to go to my panels, and I'm going to make this the side view. And then I'm going to make, I better do this. I'll move this over, go to panels, and go to orthographic and do front. Do panels, orthographic, and do side. It's always a good idea to do that. Okay, so at frame 20, I'm going to select all and set my key, because I'm going pose to pose with this, and I'm going to have him pop up. Now I'm going to have him do the left foot, and I'm going to go ahead and have the heel up. This is the point at which I want his foot to be off the ground. I want not his foot. I want him up on his toes. In other words, he's pushing this. And I'm also going to do a little toe up. This is like the think of it as the squash pose or the stretch pose in the ball bouncing. Okay, now I'm rotating him to the side a little bit so that the legs are the same, even though the feet are not. Okay, now what this means I've got 2 frames. I'm going to go from here, and I'm going to go boing. Okay, now the next pose I'm going to do, and I may put some intermediates in there, I'm going to go about 5 frames, and I'm going to do a select all, and I'm going to set a key. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take him, I'm going to move him up in the, I'm just going to go ahead and move him up into the air, and I'm going to move the feet to catch up. So I'll select the left foot. I'm going to drop the heel down. Actually, I'm going to rotate the foot like this. Now you may be asking, you may say to yourself, okay, Eric, this is great, but why aren't you putting the feet up together? And the answer is, that is to avoid something called twinning. Okay, and this is an important point to note, is that, actually I'm going to move these feet up a little bit more, is what you want, you do not want your feet to land at the exact same time. And in fact, we're going to take pains to make sure that that doesn't happen. All right, now I'm going to go to frame 30, select all and set my key. I'm going to grab my foot. I'm going to push this down. I'm going to rotate him back. Zero that out. I'll go to toe to heel. A little more. Now I can switch feet so that the right foot is now the one that's going to be down. That's not a bad idea. So now he's going to come up. move him down a little more. To do that, I'm going to grab him. Actually, I'm going to click on the move button. What that does is that grabs this COG and the feet. I'm going to hold down the shift key and shift click the feet, and then shift click the COG, and I'm going to check, and I'm going to make sure that I'm moving along the world axis. Okay, I'm going to hold down the W key, left click, and there I'm on world. Right, so now he's going to be coming down. Actually, I think I'm also going to go back to my extension pose, and I'm going to grab the left foot, and I'm going to raise it up a little bit. No, I don't like that. I want to keep that foot. I'm going to keep that foot down on the ground. So here's how we do it. We'll be doing this a lot with eyebrow later. I'm going to go to frame 18 where the left foot is still on the ground, and I'm going to middle mouse drag to 20, and I'm going to hit Shift W. Okay, what that does is that keys the translates. It basically does the same thing as doing this, and then right clicking and choosing key selected. And now that will stay on the ground, but it is rolling, which should work okay. We'll see. I'm going to have to adjust timing later. All right, so now we're going to make contact with the ground. Select all. Select all and hit set. And now I'm going to put this 0 it out in Y. Actually, I think I'm going to move them forward a little bit more. And then I'm going to delete that pose at 32. It's not far enough forward. And let me see here. I'm going to go to 32, hit move, actually hit all and set my key, and then hit move and drop it down so that the feet are on the floor. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have an impact where it drops down into its final pose. So they're definitely going to be on the ground. Then I'm going to zero out the heel, and I'm going to take the left foot. I'm going to do the same thing there. Zero that one out. Maybe move it forward a little bit. And then this is going to come down. Boom. And actually, this may be a little slow. Three frames might be a little slow. Okay. Yeah, it is a little slow. So I'm going to select all, and I'm going to shift click on this and move it in. I'm going to go back to this pose where he's in the air, and I'm going to move the body farther back. Looks like he's popping forward just a little too much. There we go. And actually there I'm going to push him forward so that he does that. Okay, and then I'm going to do what's called a moving hold. He stops there, but I'm actually going to move him forward and down a little bit. and then I'm going to give him about 10 frames to stand back up. I'll go to 49. Actually, we'll go to 50. And just have him raise back up and rotate. And that's a jump. That's a forward jump. Let's see what that looks like. I don't know if this movie may be only 5 frames and you may not be able to see what's going on, but go back. Yeah, that'll work. It's a little slow, a little floaty, but for this example, if you can make it a little faster than that. Now, the other thing that we can do is, if we're confident we're getting a good push as it is, I can. I'm going to raise that heel up a little bit because it's getting a little bit there. Yeah, I want to avoid locking out the IK if I can. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to without slightly moving the foot up there. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is, as he jumps up, I'm going to go toe to heel all the way, and I'm going to drop the heel up and down all the way so that it looks like he's literally coming up off his toes. Okay, and I'm doing that while he's in the air. Those toes, the way the toes move here are really important, because if that's where he's generating a lot of his force, as he's rolling it off the foot. Alright, now let's see what we get if I hit return. That'll do okay. That'll do alright. Okay. Actually, no, it's not going to do okay. Now I've gone from that to not getting the extension that I really need off of there. So I'm going to raise him up, and I may lock out up and forward and down a little bit. He's got to have one more click. There, that's better. That's a little more force getting up off the ground. Okay, now doing it to the side is a little different. This is going to extend the movie a little bit, but that's okay. So it's going to come up. I'm going to select all and set. Now to go to the side, go to a side jump, I'm going to have him drop down. I'm going to have him do it really quick. So I'm going to have him do a 10 frame drop down. But because he's going to this side, I'm going to have him drop down, and I'm going to have him rotate like so. I'm going to move over in anticipation of the way he's going to go. Now, when I do that, I'm also going to need to bring my pole vectors into there. Now, the pole vectors point the legs, so I'm going to have him point this way. And I can also have him come up on his feet. I'm going to grab both feet and do heel up, down. I can even roll them a little bit. Okay, so it's going to look like he steps up and then he pops back down. And I'll have him do a little 5-second anticipation movement farther into the jump, farther into the anticipated movement. He drops down and moves over a little bit. And I'll roll that foot to the right a little more. In fact, I'll even roll this one a little bit. Okay, so he's going to come down, and now he's going to spring up. Again, I'll give him about 2 frames. Select all and set, and he's going to come up. Now this foot, because he's rolling off that back toe, it's going to be really. This is the one where he's going to be really pushing that. I don't know if you can tell, but he's going to be really springing. So I'll go up 3 more frames, and now he's going to be up in the air. Push this foot up. I'm going to go ahead and roll this back to the left. And he's going to land, obviously, with this foot first. Again, I've locked out the IK, which I'm not terribly wild about. I'm going to drop this down, and I'm going to go toe, and let the toe handle this. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's going to go boing. Now he's going to be up in the air, where he's going to gather his feet under him. Set my key. I select all and set my key. I'll move the whole thing over a little bit. Now this little guy is going to come over and down toward the ground, whereas he is going to come up. Knee pointer is going to have. That's why we always want to set the key on everything at the beginning. If you don't, you're going to wish you had. All right, let's see what that looks like. So it's going to go boing. Now I'll go ahead and drop him pretty quick. I'm just going to hit move, and I'll drop him down a little bit. Select all and set. I'll hit move. He just really has to touch. Oops, wrong one. He's floating a little bit too much, maybe. All right, so then he hits. We'll select all, set. Drop him down. Flatten out his feet. And he's going to come down. Boom. Actually, what I should probably do is go back here and rotate him down a little bit. Maybe not go quite up so far. And then have him come up this way. And then have him rotate back the opposite direction. And that means that when he hits, this makes a little more sense. All right, let's see what we got here. It's okay. It needs to be quicker. And to change the overall timing of this, let's say I wanted it to be faster, I wanted it to be a quicker little side jump, I can grab this, and I don't recommend doing this a lot. What I would recommend if I wanted to speed things up is do it manually. So I would select all to make sure I got all my keys, and I would shift click here and move it to maybe 1 frame, and move all of these down so that it was a faster jump, faster move. Now let's see what I got. That's a little better. Still not great, but again, I can move this back. Just there. Alright, if I ever get into a problem where I get a key that's off a little bit, it doesn't do it. It's not going to let me do it. I can snap those keys. Actually, I need to move this foot up a little bit. I'm looking to see I got oomph. Actually, I'm going to roll that back to get a little more press off of it. And so, I want to get him a little bit more motion, a little more side motion. And we'll just have him pop up. Zero that out. Okay, and that's having him jump forward and moving to the side, and that's again, you can probably do it better than I can. And again, there's some pretty good examples in there as well. I